What's up, everyone? Welcome into DodgerHeads, presented by DodgerBlue.com. My name is Jeff Spiegel, joined today by Matt Moreno. And for the first time in a while, there is some news on the Trevor Bauer front. Now that the World Series is over, Trevor Bauer's time on the commissioner's list, his leave from the Dodgers, is now over. Matt, fill us in a little bit on how we got to this point.
Yeah, so credit to Bill Shake in the LA Times. He really is who kind of laid all of this out there. And now that the 2021 season, including the playoffs, has concluded, Bauer no longer is on the restricted list, which obviously he was still getting paid while on that this year, just not with the team while there were separate investigations going on. But with the offseason, like any other offseason, players do not receive paychecks anymore. So Bauer technically is no longer on any sort of paid administrative leave. He is, I guess, in name, a member of the Dodgers again, if you will. But, what it means for his future still just isn't really clear. I mean, like we've discussed on other videos, we'd be shocked if he pitches for the team again.
Yeah, and the news is the Pasadena Police Department has turned over all of their sort of findings to the district attorney, who is still deciding to press charges. The understanding is that Rob Manfred may be waiting to see whether or not the district attorney does press charges or not. Now, the district attorney could decide not to, and Rob Manfred could still suspend Trevor Bauer for as long as he wants to. The expectation, I think, in the media around baseball seems to be that Trevor Bauer will be suspended. There was at one point a belief that it would be one of the longest, if not the longest, suspensions that Major League Baseball had ever handed down. So the question then turns to, well, what does this mean on the field for the Dodgers? We don't want to minimize any of the stuff that Trevor Bauer is accused of doing. It is horrendous. It is horrific. The details, if you have not been exposed to them, I would recommend not being exposed to and just taking our word for it, that it's awful. Some of the stuff that he has even admitted to doing realistically. And so from the Dodgers, we just, we've got a video up talking about the free agency period that the Dodgers are about to enter into. Bauer is due for $35.3 million on the luxury tax books. The question is, what happens to that? Does that money count towards it? Does that money get wiped off? And how do the Dodgers respond to a free agency period with Trevor Bauer's status completely in limbo? Well, Andrew Friedman addressed a little bit about the Trevor Bauer situation in his end of the year press conference. Here's what he had to say.
Will Trevor Bauer pitch for this team again?
Yeah, I mean, it's no different than where we were in July, August, September. From our standpoint, it's being handled by the league office. As soon as something is decided, obviously we will come down and talk through it extensively with you guys, but until that happens, we have to kind of reserve comment.
Do you have any timetable or any sense from them how close they are?
I don't really.
Yeah, so like Friedman alluded to, it's kind of the Dodgers are in a holding pattern. They haven't really commented on it for the past several months, and Friedman himself said again, reiterated that it's in MLB's hands. Now, what's interesting is MLB could shift the responsibility to the Dodgers and say, hey, like now it's up to you guys to discipline him if you want to. I think no matter what is ruled, whether by the team or by Rob Manfred, Bauer probably is going to appeal it. I think another wrinkle to all of this is Bauer is probably going to seek credit for time served this year. I mean, I think he missed the final 81 games of the year, so basically half a season. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's a bad situation just all the way around. Of course, beginning with the allegations.
Yeah, and what's fascinating for the Dodgers is they enter a offseason hoping, I'm sure, that they would have had clarity by now. And look, the legal process is far more important than free agency. But the Dodgers surely were hoping that by now they would have an understanding of, are we going to look, they're going to have to pay Trevor Bauer the $35 million almost no matter what, almost assuredly. The bigger question, at least from our perspective, is does the $35 million count against the Dodgers luxury tax number? If he is suspended, he would likely still get paid, but that number would not count against the Dodgers luxury tax, in which case they could then go out and spend that $35 million with or without penalty accordingly. And so we talked on our free agency primer about Max Scherzer's status and whether or not he would get re-signed could be directly related. Not because Trevor Bauer is ever going to pitch for the Dodgers, but because his $35 million could be taken from that piece of the accounting Excel spreadsheet and handed to Max Scherzer and put next to his name as well. And so with, as interesting as it sounds, a potential lockout with the collective bargaining agreement actually could be good news for the Dodgers because it could give more time for this Bauer situation to develop. And then if free agency were to resume once a lockout is ended, if there were to be one, then maybe they would have more clarity, more understanding of what to do. And so a really fascinating situation all the way around. I think the timelines and sort of the legal process, Rob Manfred, the Dodgers all kind of colliding at once. And if there's anything that we have like mystery around, I would say this is the biggest mystery that the Dodgers have going into this offseason. So stay tuned here. DodgerBlue.com will have all the latest Dodger Blue 1958 on social media. As soon as we find out more, we will have it here on Dodger Heads. So we appreciate you joining us. That's Matt Moreno. My name is Jeff Spiegel. We'll see you soon.
The best team holding a trophy high in the air. The Los Angeles Dodgers, champions of the baseball world.